Hey, it's Stu, and you can hear from my voice I'm a little under the weather, and I've actually been sitting on this video for a few days, hoping to feel better, but unfortunately, it's maybe going in the wrong direction. So, it's March 1st today, unfilming of this video, and I just wanted to try to bring back TBR videos. I was doing them, and then I started kind of overcommitting, and then lots of things were happening with, like, Libby holds, and that's still all true. But I still want to try doing TBR this month. So what's in it for March? In March, there's sort of like three piles of possibilities that will inform my TBRs. One's the International Booker. The long list was just announced, and I do have some International Booker authors and even a couple winter books, which I hope to get to this month, or at least consider getting to this month. Women's Prize for Long Fiction, the Carol Shields Prize are coming up. I'm following and have been following for the last few years the Women's Prize for Fiction. I read all of the shortlists last year, and then I've been working on backlist authors. So this month I'm going to continue to just deliberately work on those books that were long-listed at some time in the Women's Prize. And then March being read Irish authors, and I do love Irish authors like many. I'm going to try to maybe even prioritize some of the Women's Prize for Fiction backlists that I have to be Irish authors. In this first week, I don't have any Irish authors, but they're in consideration for the next coming weeks. So the first book I have is actually a buddy read, and it's kind of my passing from Black History Month into Women's History Month, and that's What Storm, What Thunder by Miriam J.H. Hansey. A friend is also going to read this, maybe at the same time or around the same time, so that we can talk about it. This is a book by Tin House, which is a Portland, Oregon publishing house, which I just really adore finding books from. And I found this book at my friend's little library, and I found my friend's copy at a Goodwill. So both were found thrifting for free or cheap. And this book follows the big earthquake that hit Haiti. I haven't read any fiction around that topic or even set in Haiti, so I'm really excited. It also will fulfill the 52 Book Club's natural disaster, although I've read some books that loosely fit that prompt. This one definitely does. So I'm looking forward to starting that one, maybe even this weekend. Starting in January, I started reading some series. So I'm going to get to this book by Jane Gardam. The first book, which was Old Filth, was longlisted for the Women's Prize for Fiction. The second in the trilogy was not, and I actually don't have the third, but I am out there looking for it in the thrifting space. This is The Man with the Wooden Hat, and I think we're going to go backwards in time, but we could also, it doesn't have much about the book. Oh yeah, we're going to go, it's going to be some of the backstory of Old Filth. It's not a very long read. I really did like Old Filth, so I'm looking forward to finding some of the backstory of that character I became very endeared to in Old Filth. Okay, so speaking of series and speaking of International Booker, Ella Ferrante's A Story of a New Name is book 2 in the Neapolitan series. You can see I'm about halfway into it. I am listening to this one and following a little bit with my eyes, but I'm finding it's not really necessary. I really enjoyed My Brilliant Friend, and I am committed to this whole quartet. The fourth of the quartet, I believe, is the one that was longlisted for International Booker some years ago, but alas, I have a while to get there because I'm just halfway through the second. I am just sort of a check-in, even though this is a TBR video, feeling a little bored. I'm not epic saga person. I know people are. I don't really like trilogies and or series the way that the series folks do, because they really like to get to know characters and then stick with them for a long time, where I respect and honor the concept. I don't know. It's not really my jam, and I'm definitely feeling it in this second book. So I might just listen to it sporadically and put in a couple other listens. There's some library holes. Is that just spontaneous sort of YouTube suggestion audiobooks that I might filter in, but I won't mention them in this video because I will see if I do or if I don't. But anyway, the story of No Name by Elena Ferrante is picking up with Elena and Leela, and right where My Brilliant Friend left off, which is they're 16, Elena's still in high school, Leela's now married. And they're getting used to, they're coming of age in this construct, one going in the direction of school and the ups and downs of these last years of her high school, and then Leela adjusting to married life and what that means for their friendship. As in the first book, but maybe more so in the second book, there's a lot of tumult in this friendship. And there's a lot of deep character study that Ella Ferrante does, which I respect. I just, I think it's the teenage drama just, spread out that isn't necessarily too enthralling for me, maybe boring me a little. Speaking of international booker authors, who actually, this author has won an international booker, and I believe it was 2 years ago with Flights. This book didn't win the Impusium, nor was it long listed. And I do have Light's winner, and I do have the books of Jacob, which was a long lister. But this is the first book I ever hauled by Olga Tokarczuk, and I have a friend who has recently read it, who is waiting for me to get it read, so that, as they said, once the book picks up, because it's really slow to start, there are a lot of things that they would like to talk about, and they're waiting for me to talk about. So I'm hoping, I want to take my time with this, as it is a bit of a slow burn, and slow burns tend to make me want to skim a little bit more, instead of just really snuggle in with the book. So I want to make sure I get plenty of time for this. I'm hoping maybe next weekend when I'm feeling better, because I also really deeply trust what Olga's doing in this book, which is a loose retelling of the Thomas Mann book. I think it's called The Magical Mountain, where they meet on the mountain, I think outside of Poland. And then it's all of these figureheads basically discussing, the fall of the empires, which happened just before World War I. This book has a deep look at misogyny and the reality of misogynist thinking and actual words of misogynist authors and leaders of the time. And it's told as a horror story. So I don't know how much horror there is. I know that misogyny is horrible. It is horror. It is actual horror. It has real life horrific consequences. So for me, if it's just an allegory, it works. I know a lot of people who get into it say, wait, I'm expecting like a horror novel, and this isn't delivering until you get way into the book. And so I'm expecting that. And again, this is why I want to take my time, because I deeply, deeply respect and understand that misogyny is horrible. I also like the parallel with Thomas Mann's Magic, I think it's Magic Mountain. I hope I'm not saying the wrong. Anyway, which was really the horror of the empires and their opulence and why they had to come to an end. So I'm really looking forward to this book. It's my first Olga, and I'm still hoping to find Drive Your Plow somewhere out in the thrift world. I've yet to find it. For Women's History Month, Sylvia Plath is coming next, The Bell Jar. I hit some classics for Black History Month, and I wanted to make sure to hit some classics, to keep hitting classics. So this will be my classic pick. I plan to read maybe some other books which are really informed by this book, or maybe retellings of this book. I have this both in the audio, I have the physical, and I have the digital, so that I can do an immersive situation if needed. It is a bright sunny day. I wish I could be outside reading, and this is probably the book I would pick to read in the physical, but I'm not feeling well, so I don't know if just sitting outside in the somewhat cold air will work for me, unfortunately. But this is my classics pick for Women's History Month. And then my one for this week backlist for the Women's Prize for Fiction is Lily King's Euphoria. I've had this book for a while. I've also had Writers and Lovers, and I've seen some other Lily King that I've held off on hauling because I want to actually read a book by her before I haul more than the two that I have. And so um, and this one, The Carcass, according to this. So, okay. I thought that Euphoria would be a great starting book for Lily King, and that's why I chose it. It's also not very big, and I think I have one really heavy read, which is What Storm What Thunder, one that I want to take really slowly, which is The Impusium, and a classic, which is A Bell Jar, and all of those like read differently. I think this is going to be a little bit pacier, and I'm looking forward to that. And hold on one second. I want to show you what happened. I did say it in the haul videos, but I want to show you what happened and kind of also why I'm picking this book now. So I was looking for backlist. I always am looking for women's prize for fiction, whatever was longlisted off the backlist. It's just a thing, a way that I know I want to haul and try the book, even if it's not really for me. It's just a way to, haul and try. And so I found this, and I know authors. I'm no new, but like, oh, I didn't know authors, but for whatever reason, I just kind of took it at face value. And then I got it home and was going over it, and I'm like, Ellen Colhead, translated by Jennifer Hayatsada. I'm like, what? This isn't Euphoria by Lily King. And so I was a little bit perplexed. I was happy to find out. I like to find books in translation, and this is translated, I think, from the Swedish. However, it doesn't say, but this is a telling of Sylvia Plath's life. And so there's no digital copy or audio copy. This I have to read in the physical, and it's definitely doable, speaking of which. And part of the reason why I wanted to do Bell Jar in the physical, I don't know about you all, how I read a book does matter. It does impact my experience with it, and I'm getting way more versatile, but it just hits a little bit differently. So again, a night, bright, sunny day like today, if I felt well enough to be outside and not in my kind of low light basement, I would be maybe cracking this book open because I'm about to be done with a final book of my Black History Month TBR. So maybe this is a soft book to be on the TBR. I would like to get to it. I understand the constraints around it, but I then, the very next week at the Friends of the Library, found Lily King's Euphoria, and I was like, oh, that's why. That's how I could have got so confused, and one can see how that happened. They have been display books for the longest time because I have really appreciated just how much alike they look, and so so I'd like to be able to read them, actually, maybe within the same month. Can we say that? The Lily King's Euphoria is set in the 1930s, and it's about three young gifted anthropologists, and they're in New Guinea. Yeah. If I needed it, I've hit that prompt now more than one time. 52 Book Club has book with a map. This definitely does. And so a little bit of academe, which is anthropology. New Guinea is a setting that I haven't been in before, and I think I have, yeah, definitely. I have some enthusiasm about finally getting to this book. And likewise, although this was a bit of a oops, I'm kind of excited to read about Sylvia Plath, especially after I finish reading The Bell Jar. If I get to this was kind of a sneak on TBR. It's not really on my TBR. Maybe reminding me to be in the pile of possibilities for the rest of the month. So that's what my next week or so of reading should look like. I'm a little bit sick, as I said, so maybe my pacing will be quite a bit slower, and then work in March for me really picks up. So if I could get to some of these books next week, that would be great. If I could get to all of them, that will be great too. As someone who collects a lot of books, and those of us who do this know, I definitely have some maybe anxiety, but certainly anticipation around getting to books. And so that's part of the reason we make TBR videos, right? Because we want to remind ourselves how excited we are when we hauled it, and that we want to get to it. And now I have more than enough books to get to for a very long time. So, so these videos just really do help anchor into, yeah, here it is. Let me bring it back into the spotlight. Let me refill some of the excitement and let me hope to get to it. But if I don't, like, that's why they come around on the TBR videos, to remind yourself again, try to get to this book. In any case, until the review video, I will wish you happy reading.